So Nick Saban was asked about NIL at the Texas High School Football Coaches Association meeting, and his answer completely embodies one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite movies, which is Training Day. That this is chess, not checkers. And we need to break down his answer because this is a very important one. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you surprised by how much money Bryce Young has been able to generate due to NIL before he's ever taken a starting snap? Let me know what you're thinking, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification, that way you don't miss any of my uploads because I do constant college football content, and I would love to have you a part of the journey. And if you enjoy that content, be sure to like and comment down below because those interactions are massive. But now let's unpack what it is Saban said. And when he was asked about NIL, Saban pointed to Bryce Young and saying that some of these players are earning an extraordinary amount of money very, very quickly. And he points to Bryce Young, saying our quarterback, who hasn't even taken a starting snap, is already about to hit seven figures. So he's already almost at $1 million in revenue before he ever starts. And first and foremost, when we're talking about Bryce Young, we have to realize that this is one of the highest rated quarterbacks of the modern era. And don't just take my word for it. If we look at 24/7 Sports and how they rank their quarterbacks, he's one of 4 or 5 quarterbacks, I'm not sure what the number is, to have a perfect rating as he leaves high school of a 1. Now, if Quinn Ewers is able to do it, he'll be added onto that list, but that is rarefied air, and he set high school football on fire when he was there. He played for Mater Dei and threw for 4,000 plus yards his senior year, 40 plus touchdowns his senior year, and was unbelievable. And we hope to see that continue at the University of Alabama. And when you look at the weapons around him, my goodness gracious, though there are names that need to emerge, when we look at the talent both in the offensive line room, in the wide receiver room, at the running back position, and at the tight end position, this offense could be incredibly potent for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I think a lot of people aren't going to be surprised if it is, at the talent sprawled throughout the field. But now let's really unpack why it is that Saban is out here playing chess, not checkers, with this answer. Well, first and foremost, we've already talked about how incredibly talented Bryce Young is. So that's a explanation as to why he's been an individual that's able to generate this much money. But the other thing that Saban is pointing to, and he's trying to have it be heard, Bryce hasn't played a starting game yet. So that's how much he's been able to generate before he's ever taken those meaningful snaps, even though we got to see him last year. Saban is using this as a recruiting pitch, make no mistake about it. And he's doing it in a state that he has been very cognizant to keep a strong presence in. Whether we're talking about Drew Svoboda or Mark Orfeh, the defensive analyst hailing from North Shore, the Alabama Crimson Tide have done a very good job at keeping a stranglehold in the state of Texas to make sure that they can continue a pipeline from the state of Texas to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and so that they have a presence for all of these incredibly talented prospects. So it's not by mistake that Nick Saban says this in the state of Texas, where multiple top-level prospects that the Crimson Tide are very, very high on the trail for are residing, whether we're talking Denver Harris, whether we're talking Devin Campbell, or any of the other multitude of talented prospects that reside in the state. Nick Saban is very cognizant about what it is he's saying. He understands that with the NIL, college football is moving in a different direction, and there's only one thing to do: embrace it. And Saban, for as great as a coach as he is, and for all of the incredible things we can say about him, his versatility and his adaptability make him the greatest coach of all time, in my opinion, and that's not the only reason, certainly, but those are big ones. Saban, being a defensive wizard, has always clung to that, but as he sees college football moving into an offense that is potent, that is fast, he knows he has to change, and instead of fighting it, he changes, and he's successful. And now that we see this on the forefront, he's changing, and he's being successful at it. He's embracing these NIL deals, and that's going to help him recruiting, but he's very, very cognizant in saying Bryce Young is closing on $1 million in endorsements before he's ever taken a college snap. That is a recruiting chip for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And he's letting these players know, not only in the state of Texas, but across the nation, that the Crimson Tide is a place where you can have high value put on your name before you have ever stepped onto the field for meaningful snaps in a starting capacity. And even further than that, we've seen the Crimson Tide send dudes to the first, second, and third round of the NFL draft off of 1 or 2 years of production in college football. Nick Saban's ability to have players both go to the NFL off of only a few years of production, and now for him to be able to flex to the high school football and college football world, that he has a player nearing $1 million in endorsements that hasn't even started a college game yet. Nick Saban is absolutely out here playing chess, not checkers. This is a recruiting chip, and make no mistake about it, and one that I am very interested to see how this plays out moving forward. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you think about what it is Saban said, because this is one of those instances where I'm always very much keen to listen to what it is Saban says, because he always has a message. That's it. See ya.